Welcome, everybody. We're going to be beginning in a few minutes. This session is going to be recorded and put up on our IXD YouTube channel after the presentation. This is the final information session for this admission cycle. So if you miss anything today, you'll be able to find it on YouTube afterwards. So we're going to begin in just a couple minutes. If there's any questions along the way, my name is Jeff Gordon. I'm the project manager, and you can send the questions directly to me in the chat, and we will answer them at the end of the info session.
You want to go for it? Sorry, I can't see the chat.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, cool. All right. All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming tonight, our last info session. I'm really excited to hear any questions that you have. And as Jeff mentioned, if you wouldn't mind putting them in the chat for him, that would be awesome. We'll definitely get to them at the end. A little program history about us. So in January of 2015, SMC was chosen as one of 15 community colleges to pilot a baccalaureate degree. In May of 2015, we received our final approval from the California Community College Board of Governors. And since that approval, the program launched with our first cohort in the fall of 2016. We started our 7th cohort of students this past fall. And we have amazing alumni that are doing a variety of different work at different companies in a range of roles. So for example, Rhea works at Meta as a senior product designer. Amanda works at a company called Played as with research and insights. Orhan is an entrepreneur, and he owns his own company. It's an AI soccer camera called Real Player. He's the founder. Sarah works at Media Monks. She's a production designer. Sade works at a company called Activision. It's the home of League of Legends. Maybe some of you know it. And Will works at JP Morgan and Chase, which is a financial institution. Porfirio is a product designer at PlayStation. Ami works at Google as a UX designer, and Gabby is working at Rivian. It's an electric car company. You might have seen their trucks driving around LA as a content designer.
So many amazing alumni that we have finding incredible jobs all across the country. And this here is our beautiful building in Santa Monica, the Center for Media Design, that houses our interaction design program. We are here and back as of this fall, and I encourage you to come onto our Santa Monica College Instagram page at SMCIXD to take a tour of our new design studio, which is on the first floor of the building. All right, so today's focus is going to be on 2 different paths. Students who may be at 60 or more transferable credits by the end of spring 2023. You're going to be applying during this admission cycle that ends on March 1st, which is our deadline. For first year students, we're also going to talk to you about the pathway that you want to take if you're interested in applying to our bachelor's degree program in the future. The tough questions may be on course equivalencies, or if you have courses from another college or work experience. I won't be answering specific questions during this presentation. We have a lot of information regarding the program and the submission process online. If you have less than 60 transferable credits or are going to be starting college somewhere else, there is a path for you too. We can put you in contact with one of our IXD counselors who can answer specific questions. You can start as a freshman in our graphic design program or somewhere else and transfer to SMC at any stage, but still will need to apply to continue to the IXD program. So let's jump in on what we're going to cover today.
All right, so we are going to be talking about what is interaction design. We'll go over the admissions process. We'll talk about the interaction design coursework, what the portfolio for application, and applying to SMC. So what is interaction design? Well, good design is innovative, which is true. Dieter Rams was an industrial designer, and interaction design is nothing if not innovative. But what is it really? So interaction design is about designing for behavior and how we interact with digital products every day. So simply stated, interaction design is designing for behavior. It's about creating the best experience for people and meeting their research, I can't talk tonight, specific needs. And that requires that interaction designers uncover complex problems, develop an understanding of who we are designing for, and design the best behavior for that experience. And interaction designers design the experiences we have every day, whether it's on websites, mobile apps, smart objects, end-to-end experiences that we have with brands. So interaction design really is the study of many things. I like to think of it as an umbrella that has all these different things underneath it. So for example, you'll see here in the middle, interaction design is in the kind of darkest yellow circle. And around it, you'll see things like user experience design, visual design, motion design, product or industrial design, psychology, computer science. You've got marketing in there, motion design. So all these really overlap and help make up interaction design. And I could talk to you more about what that is, but let's go ahead and have some of our alumni talk about what they think interaction design is. So we'll watch this really quick.
Interaction design, or IXD, is many things. It's a melding of different professions, and it's very applicable to a lot of different pursuits that you might have. It lends itself very well to people from different backgrounds, and companies are hiring specifically with that in mind, to try to get different viewpoints and people with different skill sets that are not specifically design oriented.
Favorite part of the IXD program has got to be the mentor program that they had. We all had mentors from like really big companies. Like my mentor was from IDEO. There are mentors there from Hulu, Netflix, Lyft.
If you're someone who likes to problem solve, but doesn't really find enough problems to solve in your creative work as it is right now, interaction design may be a good choice for you.
All right, so good design also makes a product useful. And so I want to go over a couple examples of products that interaction designers help create. So Fitbit is a really great example of making a product useful. This is a wearable. I have something like that on myself right now. It's unobtrusive, and since it's worn day and night, it becomes part of our skin. The interaction with this actual device is minimal. It's there, but you don't know it. It reminds you in subtle ways. So teams of designers, including interaction designers, have created the wearable to provide an experience. So it's useful and meaningful, and it's highly intuitive. Fitbit makes it easy and fun to track your steps every day, and it makes 10,000 steps a day into a game that you want to share or do with your friends. So good design is thorough down to the last detail. So I'm sure all of you know about Uber, and it really seems to have these types of details down. So everything about this experience is easy. It revolutionized the way that we call a cab and the entire transport experience itself. No more paying the cab driver directly and tipping. A simple sign-on takes care of the details. The experience from beginning to end is seamless, from the point of contact to the simplicity of receiving the final digital receipt. Uber has pared down the experience to the most simplest of details, even now designing their experience around our recent COVID-19 and helping people to remind them to wear a mask when they enter the Uber. Good design makes a product understandable. And I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with MailChimp, but it's a service that needed to be redesigned and more understandable. So for years, sending out email campaigns was a challenging task for any business, large or small. And rather than wrestling with the management of email lists and trying to code HTML templates and sending out mass emails, MailChimp made it easy for anyone to manage and create email newsletters and campaigns. And with their own highly developed personal brand, MailChimp came along and completely reinvented the space. and the experience. They made it a fun experience filled with their own lighthearted sense of humor. So in addition to designer, a bachelor's degree can lead to other careers like UX designers, information architects, mobile designers, web designers, product designers, user interface designers, and these are all really well-paid careers.
Right, the IXD interaction degree in Bachelor's of Science.
So let's talk briefly about the first 2 years if you're a full-time SMC. The Design Associate of Science with the UX concentration is comprised of 28 units of core classes, 12 units of courses with UX concentration, and 20 units of general education. So these are the core classes that comprise the Design Associate's degree. You'll see there's things that we're focusing on like foundations of design, typography, research, UX, and industry projects. There's also a design portfolio class that'll help you prepare your portfolio application for the IXD program. There are also UX and Web Essential certificates that you'll see here that focus on advanced UX, web, and mobile design. These certificates include classes from the core Design Associate's degree classes, but they're 12-unit UX and Web Essentials. So the Interaction Design Bachelor of Science is comprised of 35 units of core classes and 25 units of other required courses. So these are the main IXD courses and studio classes. All of the descriptions for these courses are on our IXD website. These courses are offered in a sequence. So what we mean by a cohort is you come in with a group of about 25 students in the fall and you enter through the semester and course load and sequence together as a group. Some of the classes that I want to highlight are some of our studio classes. We're a firm believer in incorporating real world design challenges and sponsored projects from companies into our core studio classes. This gives you the opportunity to interact and receive critique and feedback from working designers, as well as build a strong portfolio of work based on real challenges from these companies and from industry. Some of the sponsored projects that we have had in our program have been with like Activision, Red Bull, Hulu, Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, Bird, American Heart Association, just to name a few. If you want to go onto our website on ixd.smc/industry partners, you can check out some of our work in more depth. But in the meantime, I want to show you this reel. It's pretty quick. That captures the breadth and depth of the projects made by the class of 2021 during their time in the IXD program.
What an awesome video. I get chills and smile every time I see it. And what's great about it is you get to a good visualization of some of the projects that our students get to work on and some of the industry partners that Nicole, Luke, and Maxim get to find for our students to work with. So moving right along, I encourage everybody to check out the program homepage for more information on our sequence of classes under the View Curriculum button. Also, I encourage you to please be sure to visit our site, especially the frequently asked questions section, for any additional questions you might have. All right, so let's get to the really good stuff. This program admission cycle, if you're starting in fall 2023, the application opened back on December 1st, 2022. And as of today, we're 7 days away from the application deadline, which is March 1st, 2023, no later than 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. So let's talk about some of the minimum qualifications. We are looking for students that have completed at least 60 semester units of Cal State University transferable courses or equivalent, completed English 1, 2, and 1 math class from the CSU general education pattern. Now, keep in mind, if you're coming from other community colleges or other universities, I understand that English 1, 2, and the math courses may be sequenced differently. Maybe it's called English 101 or maybe Math 120, but that's what we have wonderful counselors for. So when you do submit your application, they will review to make sure that you've met those requirements, and you can also follow up with them as well. We're also looking for a minimum of a 2.0 overall GPA or better at the time of the application. We really do encourage a broad range of educational backgrounds to apply to the program. We're looking for, again, students in junior standing. Perhaps you have earned a previous bachelor degree. We welcome you to apply. Freshmen interested in the program are encouraged to enroll now in the lower division graphic design courses here at SMC or another community college that's equivalent. Current students in the Santa Monica College existing graphic design associate degree program can submit materials if they are in junior standing, which means completion of 60 units by the end of spring 2023. Individuals who are graduates of graphic design program or related and or who possess work experience in design are eligible to apply for the IXD program. So let's talk about how to apply. There's 2 steps to applying. There's really 2 applications in this. The first one is the Santa Monica College application. If you're brand new to SMC, you want to go to apply to SMC now and select interaction design as your goal. Then you want to go over to our ixd.smc.edu site and complete the IXD supplemental material application form and your portfolio and submit materials to SlideRoom. How do you apply to SMC? Well, if you're not yet a student, you can go on to our admissions webpage and go to smc.edu/apply. There's an easy way to apply here for every student, including international students. I know there's some international students asking questions already. That information is there for you on the website. But once you apply, be sure to apply right away and declare your goal as IXD or interaction design. Current SMC students, meaning you already have an ID number that starts with 1, or maybe before then it starts with a 9, like mine started with a 6 back when I went to SMC in the early 2000s. So you want to go into Coursera Connect. Coursera Connect is the enrollment system. You want to update your goal, and then under enrollment and student profile, declare IXD as your goal. Then come back over to ixd.smc.edu and complete that supplemental material application, which includes the application, the personal statements, and the portfolio. You're going to be submitting that to SlideRoom.
Okay, so let's talk about the IXD supplemental materials. There are several parts to the materials that you need to submit to the program. So first off is the IXD degree supplemental form. We need unofficial transcripts from all institutions that you've attended, 2 personal essays, and a portfolio of work. These materials all need to be submitted to SlideRoom, and you have up to 5 uploads for the portfolio, 3 to 5 projects. If you include an external link or YouTube or like a Vimeo, for example, this counts as an upload. But be sure to compress your work so it doesn't get too large. They need to be submitted as PDFs and under 10 megabytes each. And we really want to see your design process, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that means here in a minute. But what we're really looking for are like mock-ups, design comps, prototypes. Of course, a project description, we need to have context, what we're looking at. So a little bit of writing is involved. Tell us about your work. So the types of projects that we're interested in looking at are websites, mobile applications, products, motion graphics, and any print work, like graphic design work. The types of skills that we're interested in are things like concept and strategy, research and design process, design and typography, motion and storytelling, and interactive and coding. So these are the types of skills that we're assessing. So portfolio requirements, design process, like what do I mean by that? Well, those can be things like sketching your ideas. We want to see the sketches, research, diagrams, user flows, site maps, personas, wireframes, mockups, and any design comps, really the entire process. And include a prototype of your project. So this could be a mock-up, design comp, or a link to a website prototype built using, code, for example, or Figma or XD prototype. A video presentation of the prototype is also totally acceptable, or any other means of showing us your final outcome for your project. So like I mentioned, a project description, we want a brief written description of the projects should accompany each piece. Written explanations are really essential element of a project. So while your design is really important, we are interested in the way that you describe your product and express your ideas. Designers do need to write, to be able to write. And we understand that many design projects are team-based, which is totally wonderful, but we want you to please include a statement about your specific role in the work or that project or that design. So projects in your portfolio can be class assignments, professional, or self-initiated. And I want to double click on class assignments because I find that folks are not aware that that is wonderful work to show. Please show your classwork, your project work. So here's an example of student work created for a website redesign. So it shows a persona, workflows, and wireframes for a website. So this is process. This is an example of process for a website. And what we want to see is the design process. And this then the prototype in this case was an actual functioning website. So providing a link to the prototype is highly encouraged. So another student project, this time this is for a mobile application. So this student is showing their design process and goals for the project, which included low and more mid fidelity sketches. The admissions committee really wants to see your thought process and how you came to your final design.
Bear with me 1 second. There's lots of questions coming in, so I thank you for putting that in the chat and sending them directly to me, but just hang on 1 second. Right. So as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be on YouTube afterwards, and I will also be following up with email. And then you'll hear from me a lot over the next few days as we get closer to the deadline. I'm always available by email and connecting you to resources such as counselors. I also encourage you to go on to our website. Our IXC website has helpful resources that will support you in working on your application and portfolio submission. In the chat, I'm now going to share some links to help you. The first link is a video you can watch at your own pace to review what interaction design is, its career opportunities, and how to apply. The second are examples of student portfolio submission and examples to review. The third is a resource of an outline of how you could structure your portfolio in project submission. So let me go ahead and just drop that into the chat right now. Make sure I'm not sending it to anybody individually. And again, this will also be in an email tomorrow morning with everybody. Okay. So now let's talk about some suggestions that we have for you as we approach the deadline that's coming up on March 1st. The first thing we encourage you is to start working on your materials now. Unlike December 1st, time is limited. So we definitely recommend you working on your materials now. We also recommend that you refine your projects, take a look it over, make some changes. Think of this like when if you were applying to a UC or Cal State, having people read your personal statements, maybe look over your portfolio if you have classmates that may not be applying for the program or are, work together to refine your projects and eventually submit your best work. And of course, revising and rewriting essays and planning your time wisely. Now, I always joke, I say plan your time wisely because the application deadline is March 1st, 11:59 p.m. And Nicole knows this from my third year of being with this program, that students really do wait until 11:50, 11:55. They get really, really, really close to that 11:59 p.m. on there. So I don't encourage you to do that because we can't control what may happen. So I do encourage you to turn it in, on the day it's due, or towards the end of the day, but don't wait until after 5 p.m. because if something goes wrong and we're not able to assist you with it, then there's a chance you may not be able to submit your application on time. So I do encourage you to do it early. I always worry about making sure students get it in on time and done as well. So now we're gonna talk about the questions. I know there's a lot of questions that came in prior to prior to this. And if you have any questions along the way, you can continue to DM me or email me at ixd@smc.edu. So the first thing I'm going to go through is some of the questions that came in prior to starting. So bear with me as I work my way through here. Okay. So this question is portfolio based. So I'm going to lean this one towards you, Nicole. Hang on one second. How should we handle using case studies on projects we did with others? I want to understand to state my role, but if others were heavily involved in aiding the creation of the prototype, what suggestions did you have?
Sorry, what was the beginning part of that question?
Of course, it is, how should we handle using case studies on projects we did with others?
Mhm.
I understand to state my role, but if others were heavily involved in aiding the creation of the prototype,
Mhm.
can we, okay, here it goes on here. Can we still use it? Should we disclose detailed information on what we did and didn't do for each step of the process?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. It's always tricky. So I would show the whole case study because that's really the process. That's really what that is. So definitely show the process, but when you write about the project, just be very specific about what what role, like what did you own something specific? If so, what was it? Like, for example, if you're like, I made all our personas, or I did all the interviews, I'm the one that helped make the color, the colors and UI for the final version of our product. Just be really specific about what you did do and that it was a team project. And then I would show all of it because we want to see also how you worked together as a team. So I hope that helps.
Thank you, Nicole. I think that does. The next question is also portfolio based. The student says, I don't have a large portfolio because they mentioned, having a lot of classroom experience. But they say, in what ways could I make the most out of the work that I do have?
By showing the process. So if it's academic work, if it's class work, it's great. And I'm sure that usually the professor will kind of build up to the final thing that you're going to make in the class. So I would just show as much of that process as you can. So like, for example, if someone submitted a portfolio of just 3 beautiful finalized things, and someone submitted a portfolio of 3 things, but they showed me all the work that went into getting there. Like they showed me sketches, they showed me, their color study or their mood board or their personas, depends on what type of designer you are. And the final thing, like that's more interesting and more helpful of how you are and think as a designer than just someone showing me the final beautiful thing and that's it. So yeah, just writing well about it, showing as much of the process as you can, and then showing the final is a really beautiful example of your work. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you, Nicole. This question came up 3 or 4 times in its relation to the program being online or hybrid or in person. The gist of it is, can the program be fully online, or how much do you have to come in person versus online?
Mhm. Yeah, so right now industry is operating and designers are operating both online and in person. There's both. There's there's completely online, there's completely in person, there's something in between. And so that's how we are functioning right now as a program. We want our students to leave and when they enter the workforce, be able to adapt and roll in any environment, in any situation, in any type of technology. So right now that's what we are. We're hybrid. We're doing a mixture of both for a variety of reasons. One is for the work example that I mentioned earlier, but the other also is for a connection with your cohort and with your teachers. The work that we do together in person has a different vibe and can be helpful to your work as can being online. But yeah, the coming together and being able to come into our studio space, meet with your groups, meet your peers is also really important too. Just kind of that soft social part is another side of being on ground.
Exactly. Seeing the students in the design studio and having the, those interactions with each other and building like social networking skills are really critical. The next question is really two-part, and I'll go ahead and answer it. Is it advisable for students to take programs such as the associate degree in graphic design in order to prepare to apply for the IXD program? And then someone also asked, what are the requirements to take? And do I need to take classes in any other college to complete my IXD degree? Well, the good thing is, it's not required to do our associate degree in graphic design, but it's certainly very helpful to do it. When you, and again, since this is a talent-based program, you have to build that portfolio and show the 3 to 5 projects. So either having that through a graphic design program like Santa Monica, or one of our articulation partners like Pasadena City College, Rio Hondo, FITM, which have articulation agreements with SMC. There's 6 of them in total. I'm blanking on the other 3 at the moment. So you don't have to do graphic design at SMC. You can do them at other community colleges. Our counselors, if you're not ready to apply right now, our counselors can work with you to make sure you're taking them wherever you're closest to living if you're not able to come to Santa Monica College directly. But again, it's not required to do it. But again, since it is a talent-based program, you do want to be able to provide a portfolio that would help you get in the program. Okay. And then, do we need to declare an associate degree major like graphic design, or do we just need 60 units before entering the program? Well, you do need 60 units of transferable work before entering the program. And you should declare that you're an interaction design or an IXD student that you're going to be applying for the program. You don't have to complete our graphic design program, but it's certainly helpful. We also have certificate options as well if you don't want to do a full 60-unit program, but we highly encourage that you do, because we see a lot of students that have graphic design backgrounds, not just at SMC, but all over, take classes, whether that's through us or through other schools, get into the program. All right, let me just take a quick look here, and then I'm going to be moving on to some of the questions that are on the Zoom link. Bear with me 1 second. There's been a couple of questions about how international students can apply for the program, including if an I-20 is provided before admission. So we've had several, we've had a lot of international students be accepted in this program. And what usually happens is once they are admitted, then they'll work with the International Education Office here at Santa Monica College to obtain that I-20. But that's something that we don't broach or address until we know if you're actually accepted into the program or not. But Santa Monica College has a reputation as a community college, and of course it's a bachelor degree serving institution of working really well with international students. So once, if you are admitted to the program, then we work with IEC, which is International Education Office, very carefully to help you obtain all the documents and preparation that you need to start your education here. Okay. All right, now let me go up here. This question is about Would transcripts have to be submitted before or after admission to the program? When you look at the application allows you to upload unofficial transcripts. Unofficial transcripts can be uploaded primarily, but before starting the program, you would need to have a final transcript sent if you have transcripts from other colleges. The reason we'll have unofficial transcripts allowed first is so our counselors can begin to look at your academic eligibility. So if there's any questions with that, they can reach out to you. All right, let me just move in here. And there was a student that had a transcript from outside the country. So again, you can submit the unofficial transcript now, and then if there's any questions, the counselors can reach out to you. And then here's a question for you, Nicole. Does my work experience in advertisement agencies count towards my admission to the program? Would it be considered a positive factor by the admissions committee?
I mean, yes, I think it depends on what it is, what the advertising is, but I mean, at least the advertising that I'm familiar with that I've done is, you know, there's a visual component, there's a strategy component, and I don't know what role you played in the work, but I think if you were to show the work, show the process behind how you got to that final, whatever the advertising is that you were a part of, I think is a great way to show how you think and design.
And then this question is something like we were talking about earlier. What if a student is interested in game design? Would the IXD program be a good idea for somebody interested in game design?
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a lot of students that are working for game design companies. Like we have a handful of we have a bunch of people in Activision, which is the company that houses Call of Duty. One of our professors worked at Riot Games for quite a while. We're creating right now a pathway from game design into IXD at our school. And also we have people working at PlayStation. So yes, because I mean, if you think about it, when you're making a game, there might be the back end of what you create in terms of the coding, but there's the front end where people need to figure out how to move around. There's the UI component, there's the UX component. So game design companies are really actually looking for UX designers big time. So hopefully that helps. So yes, please.
So thank you, Nicole. And then this question is about the essays, personal statements. I'll go ahead and answer a little bit if you want to chime in as well, please. For the 2 essays that we have to submit, what are the essays about? Are they personal questions? And how do I best answer the essay? Well, I would refer you, if you haven't started your application yet, you can even preview the application in Slide Room. It will show you the personal statement questions in there, so you have a chance to begin to like outline and work out how you want to write your essay. There are 2 questions. They're different questions. I don't know if you want to expand on that at all, Nicole, but you can see them even before you apply to the program.
Yeah, and the questions are based around you as a designer, so they're not personal. I mean, not like that type of personal. Yeah, I don't know if you're a Santa Monica student too. There's some really great resources for writing that could help you too at school if you want someone else to review your essays and give you any feedback.
Perfect, thank you. When applying to this program as a current SMC student, do we submit our SMC transcript as part of our college history? Absolutely. So make sure you upload that where there's plenty of space to upload multiple transcripts. So you can upload your SMC transcript to Slide Room. You can save it on PDF and then upload it that way. That's perfect. So this is just a semantical question, and I'm sure it's fine, but I'm going to just read this to you. A student is saying that on one of the questions of our application, it asks if they have an Associate of Science in Graphic Design, but they have an Associate of Arts in Graphic Design. Would they be able to check off that box? And I don't see why not, because it's.
Yes, please.
Yeah. What?
Yes, they should.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, great question though. I mean, I'd be confused about that too.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go here. So who is invited for an interview and what does that entail? Okay, so the process is this, the application closes, before midnight on March 1st. And then our two wonderful counselors, Amanda and Ashley, go through and make sure everyone is academically eligible for the program. Some students, may not be, but they go through and check and make sure, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, right? So from that point, some students may be notified that they're not being considered any further if they're not academically eligible. The next phase after that is that members of the admission committee review your application, they review your portfolio, and they review your personal statement. And based off that, a selection of students are invited to be part of an interview process. So that's the next phase of the process. So at that point, some students will get emails being invited for an interview, including when the interviews would be held. They're going to be held again by Zoom this year. We have a lot of different space. I know the professors give like 2 weeks worth of availability, which is great. So there's a lot of different times, mornings through evening, for interviews. They're very flexible on that. But once you commit to an interview, if you get one, you have to make sure you stick to that as well. And then unfortunately, some students who are not invited for an interview, they'll get a notice that they're not moving any further in that process. The last step is the admissions committee gets together and makes final decisions based off every part of the application, including the interview. And then the final group of students, which can range anywhere from 20 to 25. It depends year to year about how many we admit, but it can range between 20 and 25. They'll receive acceptance letters and next steps about when they have to opt in to be accepted to the program. And then the students that are not accepted will unfortunately receive notices that they were not accepted. This process, we try to get it all done by spring break. So spring break is usually the second or third week of April. So we try to turn it around before spring break. And then in terms of having you opt in, there was a question that was not part of this one, but asking when you had to make a final decision by. Do you remember when that was last year, Nicole? Was that by like end of May when we gave students to opt in if they were accepted?
I don't remember. I think it's pretty much aligned with the rest of the schools though,
Yeah.
at their universities.
Yeah, so we try to align with like what the four-year universities, like Cal States and UCs, when they ask their students to commit, we try to align with that as well. Once we have a class, then we'll be able to give you that specific date when you would have to opt in by. Okay. Okay, bear with me. A few more questions coming in. And again, there's a few questions that are repetitive. So if you're asking, if the program can be fully online, you're asking that pretty early in the presentation. So I apologize if I'm like missing your specific question specifically. So this question is not, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't want to violate any privacy information, but there's a parent standing in for one of their daughters who's currently in high school and already has a significant amount of units at the college, and they're interested in the program. Is there someone in the department that could suggest additional classes she'd be taking SMC? Yes, I would suggest that you could email me and I'll make sure to connect that your daughter make an appointment with one of our counselors here at CMD so they know what classes they would need to take before applying. So if they're not gonna, if they're not applying during this admission cycle this March 1st, then they'll be ready to apply next March 1st. And again, my email is ixt@smc.edu. So I'll make sure to get that out to you. Either you or your daughter can email me. Not a problem. All right. How does the program run in terms of schedule? Are we on quarters or semesters? And if one cannot make the March deadline, when is the next available date to enroll? So if you're not applying for this March 1st deadline, currently the IXD program is on a yearly application cycle, meaning we won't be opening up again until December 1st, 2023, with a people who want to attend for fall 24. The deadline will be March 1st, 2024. That seems so far away, but that's when the next time will be. The next question is about the essays. They want to know if the supplemental essay questions change every mission cycle. They may not be applying this cycle, but they just want to have a general idea of what it might be looking like.
We do tweak them a little bit just because we're trying to evolve the questions and make them most helpful. However, it is kind of in the same realm, if that helps. But we do tweak them. We do update them.
And this question, I think would be a yes to, but a student has associates in animation and 3D emphasis. Would that be something that you would encourage them to apply to the program as well if they feel they have a portfolio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Storytelling, motion work is fabulous.
Yeah. Bear with me. I just gotta make sure I can still speak. If I get rejected this year, can I apply again next year? Yes, absolutely. So sometimes, we have students that are, just like on the cusp of getting in, or they may need some classes to help better prepare them to apply next time. And we've had a lot of students who apply one year, they don't get in, and they apply again next year and they do get in. So it's just like if you were applying to UCLA or USC, maybe you didn't get in on the first try, you can always, do it again next time. Certainly we welcome that, and we see, a decent amount of success with students applying again the second time around if they have to be. There's a question about, what is the admit rate of the students? And I always have a hard time with that question because the admit rate really does fluctuate based off the number of applicants we receive. I can tell you that last year, for example, we had 55 students apply and we admitted 20 students. The year before, we hit a record number of students. We had 90 students that applied and we admitted around 25 students. The year before, it was 84 students that applied, or 79, and we were admitting between 20 and 25 those years. So it really just depends year to year. As you know, we were all going through the pandemic the last couple of years. There was less students applying in general last year. We do anticipate more students applying this year than last year, but I can't give you a percentage of how many of you will be admitted and how many of you won't, especially because it's a talent-based program, and that's based off students and portfolios and interviews and all that fun stuff. But every year the number changes of the students that apply. So that does skew the totals a little bit, but hopefully that helped you. And let's see. So this question again is about moving forward to an interview. If I understand it correctly, will everyone who's moving forward in the application be invited for an interview? Yes and no. If you're academically eligible, then it goes to the admissions committee to review your application, your personal statement, and your portfolio. Some students will be invited for an interview. Unfortunately, some students will not be invited if they don't meet that portion of getting through the portfolio review or the essay and application review. So some people will be invited forward, some people will not, unfortunately. If invited for an interview, does that mean you're accepted or not yet? No, that does not mean you're accepted yet. Interview is like really pretty much the final round, one of the final things that you need to do, and then the committee reviews all the applications that are left. So there are students who were interviewed that were not accepted to the program. And then, sorry, bear with me. How can we prepare for the interview? The interview is really about an opportunity for the faculty to get to know you better and to get to know your personality. And I don't know if Nicole, if you want to chime in anymore, but I tell students to really just be themselves and, just to breathe and relax, just as you're going through and turning these applications in before the deadline, be yourself and let the faculty know who interviews you, like what you've been doing these last couple of years, what your experience is about, and something along those lines. But I'm going to pass it over to Nicole if she has anything more to add to that.
Yeah, the interview is just so that we can get to know you a little bit, so you're not just paper and portfolio, you're a human. And then we just want to ask you questions about your design background and your work. Sorry. Yeah, so it's just it's very chill. It shouldn't be, I understand if it is stressful, but the intention is not to make it stressful at all. We just want to meet you.
So there's one question here I'm not quite understanding correctly. They're saying it's not clear. I'm going to read it to you. Maybe you have an insight for this, Nicole, but if the student wants to clarify in the chat or email me afterwards, I can always relay it. I'm going to read it as is. 3 to 5 piece portfolio is final products. Yes, period. Done photo, videos, photojournalism, article links. Final word, confusing though, you emphasize case studies, which entails storyboards of process, written detail. That's a tall order, is just one example of portfolio, please. Not clear.
Yeah, I'm not quite clear. So a case
study. Yeah, so please just,
yeah,
the student, you just email me afterwards, and I can try to clarify for you what you're asking. And then go from there. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. I just want to remind everybody, everyone knows the deadline is March 1st, and I just want you to just, breathe and relax and just go in there and do your best. And, taking the step of thinking about interaction design or applying for it is a big step in your academic and career journey. So we're excited that you're even considering being a part of, being part of this program. And we hope that you do apply. And if you don't apply this year, then we hope you, take some associate degree courses and apply next year. We're really excited. The amount of people who have been coming to the info sessions. I see a lot of names in here that I also see who've started their application in Slide Room. So we're anxiously awaiting you to turn in that application. So let me just go here. A couple more questions came in. Do we need to fill out the I get to CSU fulfillment before we apply to the program? No, our counselors will, see if you have the CSUGE fulfilled. If there's any questions, they can always reach out to you. Sometimes they reach out to you, right after you turn your application in to ask any clarifying questions. Has the tuition price changed? Is it for the whole program or per year? So the tuition price as of this moment has not changed. I can't predict the future that the tuition won't go up in the future. It is for when it says $10,000, that really does include your first 2 years. Like if you're coming from SMC as a freshman or a sophomore, so your junior and senior year comes out to a little over $5,000 what you're going to be spending on tuition. This is only for California domestic residents. I'm sorry, out-of-state students, and I'm sorry, international students. It is more expensive for you, but this is specifically for California to, California residents, what I'm quoting that tuition price. If you have any questions about tuition, I can link you to our admissions tuition page on SMC's admissions. And I can answer any questions that you might have about that or put you in contact with somebody in admissions. Here's one more question about portfolio. Is a working prototype required for each piece? They have one project, they never got the chance to prototype, but they have wireframes. Would you suggest making a last minute prototype?
I think it depends on the body of your portfolio. So if you have one of the projects you submit does have a clickable, whatever prototype, then that's great. And it's not so much having all of it, but if your wireframe is really in depth and it shows thinking and strategy, and you can write about it, about the project and the role in it, I think that would be awesome and totally great.
Great, thank you, Nicole. And then question about California fee waivers or the California Promise Program. Do they apply to the 10,000 residents to student tuition? They can apply towards your freshman and sophomore year if you're eligible for it. So once you apply for FAFSA, you can see what sort of things you're eligible for your junior and senior year. But for anything like the California formerly known as the Board of Governor fee waiver, or the California Promise Program, or the SMC Programs Program, that's only for freshman and sophomore year. I'm sorry, I wish it was all free. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming in. And if you do have any questions, again, at any given time, over the next 7 days, if you are applying on this cycle, you're gonna get a few emails from me. You'll also have an email tomorrow that has the link to YouTube. It's going to have how to make counseling appointments if you want to have manager Ashley meet with you before you apply. It's also going to have the portfolio links that I posted here in the chat. And then, I'm around. So if you ever have any quick questions, Nicole is part of the admissions committee on the faculty panel. So please do not, as much as Nicole is a really friendly person, she can't answer any questions directly about the portfolio or review your portfolio. So if you do have any technical questions, direct them at me and I can present them to the committee and get an answer for you if you do have that. And again, we're excited that you're taking the step, whether it's this year or next year. We're looking forward to seeing you as part of the Interaction Design IXD program, hopefully soon. And thank you for coming out on a Tuesday night, and see you all real soon. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.